Jazz musician Kamasi Washington isn't used to seeing his name in lights or selling out shows. Until recently, he played as a sideman for everyone from Snoop Dogg to Shaka Khan. But now it's his turn to take center stage. The 34-year-old is in the midst of a world tour performing music from his aptly named 3-hour-long orchestra and choir-backed album, The Epic, along with his 10-piece jazz band. It came about when Washington and his friends, who also spent their time touring with other musicians, decided to get together and record their own music.
I have a group of friends that I grew up with that are all really amazing musicians. And at that point, I set out to try to get the planets to align and get them all in one place at the same time. And what ended up happening is we ended up agreeing just to not just make a record for me, we made 8 records. So we went in the studio for, instead of what I planned to be 3 or 4 days, we went in there for 30 days. And I ended up with just a surplus of music. When it was all said and done, what I had left was the album that came out.
And what an album that is. The contrary to first appearances, the Epic's title is not just referring to the record's length. It all began with a dream Washington had.
It was a dream about this guy that was standing up on top of this mountain, and he was guarding a gate, and that's all he did. He didn't do anything else. He was up there for hundreds of years, and there was a village at the bottom of the mountain of people who trained to go and challenge him so that if they could beat him, they would become him, basically. And so that's what the dream started off with, and then it moved on to, you know, those kids going up to challenge the guard, and he wasn't there, and it was just like I was hearing the songs and seeing the story.
The recurring dream may have formed the basis of the Epic, but the album can also be read as another kind of allegory about the LA-born and raised musician's career and life.
A lot of those songs were written when I was still really young, and like my ambition in life was just to like kind of do what I'm doing now, which was like travel around the world playing jazz and, you know, playing with these guys I grew up with. The second part of the record is kind of what actually happened after we all graduated from high school, which is like we were a group of talented musicians who thankfully were in demand. So we all got pulled apart in a way, like we were all going on tour with different people. And sometimes we were on tour together, but we were never on tour doing our own thing. A lot of us are second-generation musicians, and that destiny of talented musicians kind of spending their whole lives just making music for other people. I saw my dad and a lot of my friends' fathers kind of fall into that, and we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to repeat that.
Washington may not be standing in anyone's shadow anymore, but it didn't hurt that just months before he released his own album, he had a high-profile collaboration with rapper Kendrick Lamar on his record, To Pimp a Butterfly.
You don't meet a lot of stars of that caliber that are so open to allow you to express yourself in their music, you know. So Kendrick, he really pushes you to put who you are. If he has you on his music, it's because he wants something that you have.
Lamar is by far not the only collaboration Washington has had. The 34-year-old has performed and toured with many big names in the music industry across a wide range of genres, and says he's learned something from every one of them.
I tried to really immerse myself into the music of that person, and I would always take something back to the music that I was making for myself. So like when I started playing with Snoop, he had this emphasis on like phrasing and how you played something that I took back. You know, when I was playing Raphael Sadiq, he would always change his shows, and he was like really fearless about like performing. You know, he didn't care. He'd play a song that we never, you know, rehearsed. Lauryn Hill was like really, she was like a mad scientist. She would like mix musics that you just never thought could be mixed, and like she would take songs and you know, have us learn something that we didn't even know, like how she was going to use it later on. So, you know, and those are things I brought back to my own music.
Some of the stardust must have also rubbed off on Washington. The epic has garnered a number of accolades. Rolling Stone put it on its list of top 50 albums last year, and millions have listened to it on streaming sites Spotify. While people's curiosity about Washington has undoubtedly been spiked, as he tours the world this year, he's hoping to show even traditionally non-jazz fans how epic the genre can be. Jade Barker, Charity World, New York.